In this episode, let me use Mahjong to talk about size and other concepts in design such as proportion and scale and share my experience on these. First, being the instruments to play the game, Mahjong tiles comes in handful sizes, which vary from place to place and change over time. The earliest Mahjong tiles now collected in different museums seems quite small, ranging from very tiny ones of less than 20mm to larger ones of about 25 or 26mm. The later size was descended in places like Japan, Taiwan, and the United States. Despite the small size, Japan and Taiwan, the tiles are thicker than the American ones, which are displayed on a rack like Scrabble. Though no racks are used in Taiwan Mahjong, rulers are used to align the tiles as it has more tiles of 16 in one hand than the 13 in Japanese Mahjong. In mainland China, tiles have grown to a bigger size since their appearance. And in Hong Kong, the most conventional size is about 36mm long. In recent years, the game of Mahjong has been revived in mainland China after being banned by the Cultural Revolution. Both the Mahjong tiles and the graphic and lettering on top are made in a larger size, probably to facilitate production by machine casting of plastic in metal molds. With the growing use of electronic Mahjong tables, the Mahjong tile size has become even larger, and the size of 44mm is often used, probably because of the need to embed a piece of magnet within each tile, which helps to stack the tiles with the face down. In extreme cases, Mahjong can be as large as 52mm. As explained in our earlier episode, the beginning of Glocal Mahjong can be traced back to a set of Mahjong stools for a pop-up event in the size of an A3 box of 40 x 30 x 25 centimeters. Subsequently, we have also made a set of Mahjong in A4 size for other events, which can be played in smaller spaces. After our attempts, we also saw other events which played giant Mahjong or use giant Mahjong as props or venue settings. Following the belief of Mahjong Inspires, we have curated or created Mahjong thematic products in a wide range of sizes. It ranges from Mahjong casing for product packaging, Mahjong sets for travel, to tiny Mahjong tiles as earrings or miniature Mahjong tile for models and dollhouses. The concept of size is easy to understand, as they are simple and direct measurements of things. However, in design, knowledge and the ability to command scale and proportion are core to every good designer. Proportion is the relative relationship between different parts of an object. In Mahjong, the relationship between length, width, and depth is quite standard and mathematically related. This makes them easy to stack and store, and like Lego, good as building blocks to build things. When we describe something as squarish, short or tall, fat or slim, we are practically describing this relationship. Preference for proportion could change with time and vary from place to place. For example, during Gothic, tall and slim proportions are admired, while during Renaissance, people opt for a more balanced and geometrically related proportion. In the Western world, people arrive at an optimum proportion of about 1 to 1.6 and call it the golden ratio, as it seems magical in mathematics and be found in nature, and is neither ambiguous nor too long. This proportion preference also applies to people. In the older days when food was scarce, people found fatter looks admirable, while today when food is abundant, the prevailing taste is for something slimmer, which only young people and people with good healthy habits can achieve. As designers, we have to be careful about proportion, as this is the simplest way to make something look right and good. And in Western classical architecture, the orders are practically set of proportioning system to deliver the right look. Like the Doric order for something to look stable, masculine and serious, while the Corinthian order to make something look feminine and elegant. When something is not coming in a good proportion, we can visually correct it by subdividing an object into visual blocks by lines, colors and patterns. Just like fat people know how to dress right to look thinner. Scale is another important concept to understand. Whether something looks big or small is very much affected by its context, and we grasp the size of something by comparing it with other things like a man or a piece of furniture nearby. While products and interior designs are mostly related to humans, which we call anthropometric, for architects we have to develop the ability to design on a much bigger scale. In determining the size of parts, we have to command the distance from which something will be viewed and design things in the right scale. Take an example. This shadow line in my recently completed project is in the size of a window, while this in a table could just be a slot of a few millimeters. As architects, we have to determine the size of joints and patterns to make them appear the way we want. Take another example in the same project. To make ceiling panels appear in the white scale, only alternative strips are expressed in dark, and the outer joints are made much wider than the inner ones. To make the floor pattern look right to the space, a similar floor pattern is actually half in size to strip the narrower space of the bridge. It seems I have been too ambitious to cover such a big subject in this short episode. Hope sometimes I can share you all these under a different YouTube channel.